नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु बुद्धिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। हंसवाहिनी ज्ञानदायिनी हंसवाहिनी ज्ञानदायिनी ज्ञान का भंडार दे शारदे वरदान दे ज्ञान का भंडार दे शारदे वरदान दे हम सवाई ज्ञानदायी ज्योति धात्री वो धात्री ज्योति धात्री वो संसार के शाद केवल दान दे हम सवादिनी ज्ञानदायिनी विश्व के अंधेरे कर जाए इस पर में विश्व के अंधेरे घर में गिर न जाए इस सफर में दिलों का के वरदान दे दिलों का के वरदान दे हम सवाहिनी ज्ञानदायिनी हम सवाहिनी ज्ञानदायिनी ज्ञानदायिनी ज्ञानदायिनी।
Very nice.
ಬನ್ನಿ ಇವ್ರೆ
Good evening. Welcome to all of you. With Swamiji's permission, we would like to start the program today. And I've been asked by the host, the Pujya Vishwanathji and Girijamma, to make a small introduction of Swamiji. Just 1 second. Hello. Yeah. So all of us have known Swamiji for quite some time, and hardly Swamiji needs an introduction. But as a formality, I would be very brief. We are all here to listen to the Swamiji. And Swamiji, as we all know, has been a teacher of Vedanta and human values for all of us for over 3 decades now. Though he started off as an engineer, worked as an engineer, studied engineering even at IIT Madras after his undergraduation at Mysore University. Swamiji was drawn to the spiritual world of life from Sri Chinmayananda. And ever since, Swamiji has been in the format of Swamiji for the last several decades. He served Chinmaya Mission for over 18 years. First 5 years as an Acharya at Mumbai Chinmaya Mission. And later in the mid-90s, he was in California as the head of the Chinmaya Mission group there. And some of us were very fortunate to have associated with him around that time when we were also there. So his simplicity, his ability to reach us, his down-to-earth person that he is, draws a lot of people like us to Swamiji. He is very popular, as we know. He is spending his time between India and US as of now. After 18 years of Chinmaya Mission, Swamiji went to Krishnamurti Foundation in Varanasi, and I'm sure some of us here were very fortunate to have met him, spent time with him in Varanasi, on the banks of the Ganga River. So after about a decade at the Krishnamurti Foundation and his studies on spirituality, Swamiji in parallel had founded an organization called Powai Forum in Mumbai, and that started in 2006. The flame of who am I, the inquiry of who am I, is the intent behind the Powai Forum initiation that we all know. Now that he has so many disciples and people very interested in having him, listening to him, studying under him, a lot of enthusiasts have started an initiative to create a small center, a permanent center in near Mumbai, about 3 hours from Mumbai, in a village in Maharashtra. And there is some detail that will be made available depending on the interest. And this ashram requires a lot of support from all of us to be a reality sometime very soon. I request all of you to have a discussion around it at the end of this talk and see how you can also help and contribute to the creation of the Center for Spiritual Studies that will help all of us. Swamiji is author of several books, and he has given several talks all over the world. And there is a YouTube channel of Swami Chidanandaji, and his discourses on Upanishads and Vedas and human values are always available to all of us. So, with that introduction, I humbly request Swamiji to accept a small token of welcome from Girijamma and Vishwanath.
Okay, then, honey.
So,
So with that, I hand off the mic to Swamiji and let's all listen to the wonderful talk that he's going to do.
Bye. See. Leave.
ಹೇಳೋದು ಮಾಡಿ ಈಗ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನೋಡು ಅಷ್ಟು ಇದು ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹತ್ರ ತನಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಹತ್ತಿರ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ ಈ ತರ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಂತರ ಕೈ ಬಿಟ್ಟ ನಂತರ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್ವೈರ್ಯ ಓಂ ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ವಾಸುದೇವಾಯ. It's so wonderful that so many of us have gathered this Monday evening to apply our mind to Bhagavad Gita. Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimanyaihi Shastra Vistarati. Gita Sugita Kartavya. Gita means what is sung. Make it well sung. Sung repeatedly. Sugita can mean sung joyously, not just number of times. But when you sing Gita with joy, it becomes Sugita. Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimanyaihi Shastra Vistaraihi. For what use are other scriptures? Why do we say that? Ya Swayam Padmanabhena or Padmanabhasya Mukha Padma Vinisrata. This Gita has come out from the lotus mouth of Sri Krishna, from whose navel there came out a lotus. You know the rest of it. Bhagavad Gita has, whether somebody likes it or not, kept large numbers of people around the world inspired. People who have studied Bhagavad Gita, irrespective of their diverse backgrounds, have appreciated and seen both a mystical quality and practical significance in this Bhagavad Gita. This evening, we are going to try ponder the light of Gita in modern times. Therefore, without going round and round in a general way about Bhagavad Gita, let me spend just a minute or two to say something general. People say Gita talks about so many topics: karma, bhakti, jnana, yoga, process of creation, dissolution, God's glory, how we may see God, and of course, human values, various qualities that you and I may strive to develop in ourselves so that our life becomes more balanced. How we can be good human beings in simple language. So there are many topics: right food, right charity, right form of yajna, countless topics. But our attempt this evening will be how in modern times, they call it a digitally distracted world. Some of you might have wondered, even Swamiji before starting the lecture was doing something on it. But I have kept it away our close ones. There is not no eyes on it anymore. Yes, we are a digitally distracted generation. But now plunging into the theme proper, light of Bhagavad Gita in modern times, I would like to share with you 5 points in this regard. It's a random selection. We could have some other 5 points, some other 8 points too. For Bhagavad Gita being like a fountain of brilliant ideas, it's possible to collect different, beautiful, inspiring insights from the Gita. Therefore, someone long back had said, Bhagavad Gita is like a garden of many kinds of flowers of different colors, and their fragrance also being so diverse. When I thought over it, it seemed to me that a better analogy could be, without going for the beauty and the fragrance of flowers, a better analogy could be Gita is like a wonderful herbal garden where for any ailment that you and I have, and we have plenty of them, there is the medicinal plant. Bhagavad Gita is a repository of Aushadam for all our rogas. So the 5 points that I will share with you have 2 in a collective sense and 3 in an individual sense. Individuals and the society are, of course, intimately related. Individual growth contributes to societal growth, and if society is well set in terms of certain work ethics, certain personal values, and so on, it's bound to tell on the individuals also. Yet, it is possible to pick up certain lines, certain words of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, which seem to have special significance for the individual domain and for the collective domain. Call eternally. That means in the times bygone, in the times yet to come, and in our present times. A certain line of Bhagavad Gita had, has, and will have unquestionably great value. And I took it from the 18th chapter The famous line is Swakarmana tamabhyarchya siddhim vindati manav. If you and I were to select, let us say, 31 half shlokas, not even full shlokas, and if you and I were to spend 5 minutes in the morning, one every morning, 31 days, that set is over. This can qualify. Swakarmana tamabhyarchya siddhim vindati manava. The full shloka, of course, reads Yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tamabhyarchya siddhim vindati manava. 46 from 18. But the punchline is, to put it in English now, every one of us, suppose, look at the work we have, the profession we are in, even if we are retired, certain responsibilities or certain involvement in some social causes which might mark our daily life. Towards those things, suppose we have a sense of, this is how I am worshipping the Lord. It doesn't have to be the puja room only. It can be. We respect traditional worship equally as we do secular work in the society outside. It depends on each person's temperament. Sri Ramakrishna stayed inside the Dakshineshwar tomb. Vivekananda went around. Both did great job in their own ways. So, a lawyer or a businessman, a doctor or a farmer, a homemaker or teacher, everybody takes this line from the Gita. I may not be able to formally worship God, but this work that I am doing 8 hours a day, work from home included, the work I am doing is my archana, abhyarchana. Imagine how wonderful it would be. They will do it better. A teacher looks at the students, among whom some unruly girls and boys also are. She says, yeah, some of these are such hard nuts to crack. But for me, it's a worship. So the businessman, so the lawyer, so the doctor, everywhere, my clients, my patients, my customers, my students are the way God is coming to me. If I am fair to them, if I am giving good services to them, and I bear with whatever unpleasant behavior they come up with, then God will be pleased with me. Swakarmana samabhyarchya siddhim. I put this in the collective context because if more and more people have this spirit, collectively, that's how we will have the best services. If more and more people think, if one person I compromise with values, what will happen? Everybody else is doing their job well. It will be like the story of some king who offered a dinner and offered all items of the meal from his side, but for some badam milk that was to be given at the end, he said everybody should bring milk from their house, just 250 ml. And that town had such people. Everybody thought our house takes only water and pours into the tea. It was announced on the vessel will be kept. And later on, the king and the prime minister went and saw the whole vessel had water only, slightly white. There were some good people in that town also. So, Swakarmana tamabhyarchya. This will be so applicable to modern times. Everyone should give one's best, even country-wise. The developed countries should not think in isolation, nor should the developing countries think of themselves as a separate block. Increasingly, we see the interconnectivity between nations, between economies of all the nations. Therefore, all keep this in mind. The way we do our business not only affects us, it affects others. If I hurt them, it will boomerang on me. That is the spiritual message. Secondly, again in the collective domain, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, I have set up this whole universe in a certain order, and I have assigned certain responsibility to everyone to work in synchronization, to work in sync with this order, to work in harmony. Like a piece of music is set, and in an orchestra, different people with different instruments, and one or two singing vocally, all of them have to perform in unison. And in the third chapter, Sri Krishna says, the Yajna Chakra, Annad Bhavanti Bhutani, Parjanya Anna Sambhava, Yajna Bhavati Parjanya, Yajna Karma Samudbhava, Karma Brahmodbhavam Vitti, Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam, Tasma Sarvam Yajne Pratishtitam, Sri Krishna says. He gives a Yajna Chakra in chapter 3, 14 and 15 verses. It has got 7 components. And on each of the components, Anna, Bhutani, Karma, Yajna, Parjanya, Vedas, the word Brahma there means Vedas, and all of them held together by the supreme divine principle, Akshara. Akshara is Brahma, the supreme non-dual Brahma. 7 components. And we are created to be in harmony with them. But because of certain evil tendencies which are always inexplicable, there are certain questions which are difficult to answer in life. I'm sure you have heard many times the long time question. Why do bad things happen to me? Somebody has even wrote a book with this old time bestseller. Why do bad things happen to good people? Like that, here too, if God created us, His creation should be very noble, pious, virtuous, and like God only. But why are we like demons sometimes, or many times, is a question. Let's not get into that question, but it's a ground reality that in all of us, the speaker not excluded, there are at times evil tendencies raising their ugly head, right? That is when we break this cycle. And I picked this shloka today, especially in view of a major crisis that modern times are facing. And that crisis is no other than the crisis of environment, the crisis of climate, global warming, and mankind shutting their eyes to that calamity. Those who are into that field raise such big alarm, raise big voice against it. Leave aside everything for 5 years and put a check, put a halt, put a stop on the deterioration. of climate, but there is no takers so easy. Some countries organize a great conference. They organize with much fanfare for global environmental protection. At the end of it, they advise other countries what they should do. I am no expert in this. I do not want to explicitly mention someone because in these matters, let me tell you, there are stories inside stories. First, this country looks wicked. Then you find that that country is made to act like that by another country by twisting their arm. Even things like Ukraine war, etc., there are multiple accounts how it came to be. And they even call it a proxy war or some war in disguise, and the actual issue is something else, etc. After reading two or three versions, I got so baffled. I stopped mentioning any particular country as the villain in the story. Because we know only, just like in societal, social life also, we come to know some story about those family. Oh, really? That man did that? What a bad father-in-law, or what a bad brother. Next day, we get to know another side of the story. Yeah, I should not have blamed that father-in-law or brother. Fault is on this side. Finally, especially Swami say, "Oh Namah Shivaya." You better not talk about it. But the fact is, everybody has a role to play. Sri Krishna seems to have hinted at the collective responsibility of all of us to ensure that this beautiful earth, in which the Lord has set up a certain process, Lord did not give to us nature, trees, rivers, and hills. Lord did not give all of them to us to mindlessly exploit for short-term benefits, to make money. Everyone has to put in their effort to step back from some wrong ways and do whatever is possible. I have almost completed reading Indra Nooyi's autobiography, My Life in Full. On one hand, she was adored and admired as a great CEO of PepsiCo for 12 years. I believe in America, normally most CEOs step down after 5 years or so. That's what I read in that book only. But she stayed on 12 years and she actually tried her best. She introduced a number of health drinks while acknowledging Pepsi, basically like Coke, was not healthy. Too much sugar and whatnot. And then she spent millions or I don't know how much huge figures of money on certain research by which those unhealthy drinks were at least made less unhealthy. You know. And certain other drinks she introduced, certain companies she bought during her leadership were fully into health drinks. So hats off to her. India also honored her with Padma Bhushan or Vibhushan. Many awards came her way. A girl from South India, colored skin, a woman in the wild, wild west where, especially in the 70s and 80s, there was advantage to men, advantage to white-skinned people. So there were always some people who were very liberal. That's the greatness of the West. She rose and stayed in their highest position. All right. Anna Bhavanti Bhutani, especially the words Parjanya and Yajna are very symbolic. Pujya Swami Chinmayananji used to go into great raptures while describing Yajna. He gave the definition a new definition. He said, yajna, more than a homa or havana, is cooperative endeavor. You and I, rather than hurting each other, we help each other grow. Therefore, even between two families, two individuals, then go on extending between even countries, groups of countries. There are also some G8 and then some G20, and then there are so many G groups. If those groups do some honest soul searching and with certain sattvic force, the problem is the world respects academic degrees and IQ too much. All said and done, finally, somebody who throws so many graphs and spreadsheets and this and that and bamboozles the audience and then shows maybe privately the bottom line benefits to some main vested interest. That proposal gets passed. They need to do soul searching. They need to be honest. Yajna is cooperative endeavor, and Parjanya is the wonderful rewards that come from such a cooperative endeavor. Therefore, collectively, we work towards the well-being of all, and the how and the modus operandi will all come to us. But are we ready to take this step? Thirdly, for modern times, you have now an individual context. You have this problem that people work with agitated minds, always in agitation. Though outwardly they are all very smart, especially we in the East, even if somebody among us is on a hospital bed with a one leg at 45-degree angle, somebody comes to see us, how are you feeling? Excellent, we say. Then we give a long list of how it is paining everywhere in the body. We have been told in childhood, don't pull a long face. Anybody asks you, how are you? Say, fine. Then to tell your tale of woes. All right. Anyway, this is a serious matter. We actually know in our hearts how we do not have peace of mind. We do not have emotional stability. We are insecure and unstable and worried about future. Wherever we go, even a, even a Himalayan sadhu might be a little insecure if he finds more people are bringing fruits and sweets to the other sadhu in another cottage. At this rate, where will I be? Not many are bringing fruits and sweets to me. Some Swamis request me, don't divulge these secrets to people. I tend to be a little loose mouth there. I'll withhold myself now. So, human life, whatever you are in open roads or through airport roads, the human mind is the same. Now, what am I trying to drive at? There is a verse in second chapter. This is very valid for modern times, and it will be so for all time. Time is not an issue. As long as human beings have this human way of thinking, bhayam, there is fear. The rich also are afraid on a certain level. The poor also are afraid. Even in marriage, the husband is afraid. In some areas at least, about how the wife would respond to a certain issue. There used to be a lady in Bangalore only. She would make a small contribution and tell us, Swamis, don't say I gave this contribution. He would be very embarrassed. I'm sure there are husbands also who would make a contribution somewhere else. And figured very. But that's life. Why husband, why corner husband and wife? Unmarried people also have little bit of worry about somebody coming to know what they are doing. So what am I driving at? That verse is in the famous portion of Stita Pratna Lakshanas, you have a verse which is generally not much highlighted, and that is a verse that stresses on meditation. The word used is not dhyana, the word used is bhavana. But bhavana over there means dhyana. The shloka goes like this: Nasti buddhira yuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata shantihi ashantasya kutas sukham. I underline the word the abhavayataha na shanti. Bhavayataha means for someone who does meditation. Abhavayataha means someone who doesn't meditate at all. That means, in a simple loose translation, who never sits quietly. And in this matter, we don't even insist believe in God. Whether you believe in God or not, don't be so much always into acting or thinking, acting or thinking. For 5 minutes, suspend your activity, suspend your thinking about what will happen. What if he says this? I will say that, and then I say that if she says this, then I will like this you and I. That makes us weaker and weaker. Here and there, maybe with the help of some pranayama, maybe with the help of some sarupa dhyana, think of God in a certain form. That's very traditional. In Chandogya Upanishad, Sanat Kumara tells Narada that in life, intelligence is most important. At one point, he says that is most important. Then it goes further. For you to respond intelligently to situations, to make possible intelligence, dhyanam is necessary. Intelligence is called in that portion, chapter 7 of Satokya, Chittam. Over there, Chittam means Buddhi Shakti. Kim Karyam, Kim Akaryam. What is to be done, what is not to be done, to decide what is the wise way and what is an unwise way. To assess a situation, you need intelligence. Now, you will not have intelligence, Sanat Kumara says, unless you do dhyana. And there, Adi Shankara in his commentary gives a traditional interpretation. Dhyana is contemplation on a God form as prescribed by the Shastras, contemplation in such a way that there is hardly any other thoughts. Even if it is for 10 minutes, to meditate on Sri Krishna. And you think of Sri Krishna and Sri Krishna only for 10 minutes. Shankara says that is dhyana. But in a liberal translation, liberal interpretation, dhyana is withdraw the mind from all those conflicts, all those issues that bother you, that drain you, that suck the energy from you. Withdraw your mind and fix it in anything. Breath, your own breathing, or play some instrumental music. And just listen to it. Maybe flute, maybe sitar, right? Just listen to it. Then a certain calmness, certain steadiness. A while ago you were so troubled. After doing this 5 or 10 minutes of a meditation of your choice, you will get some serenity. You will see very clearly that so many of our problems, if not all, are actually mind created. It is all a mystery of the mind. Something worth the 10 rupees will seem to be 10,000 rupees worth if our mind plays its mischief. And another time, something worth 10,000 rupees, we say not interested and walk away. This is evaluating it wrongly. Why? Our mind tends to be so disoriented. Orient your mind, stabilize your mind. That is conveyed very powerfully in this the shloka 56 in chapter 2. Abhavayataha na shanti. Ashantasya sukha sukham. If you do not meditate, if you do not take 5 minutes here or 5 minutes there to calm your mind, then your mind is all the time overactive. Everybody should look within. I do not, hastily say to somebody, hey, you are running too fast now. Yesterday I met a 61-year-old person and he said for decades he has been sleeping only maximum 4.5 hours at night. And I said, what about the daytime? If you have slept only 4 or 4.5 at night, don't you feel tired? I do feel tired. Then do you sleep? Very rarely. And he confessed yesterday before meeting me at the 5 o'clock in this house. I believe yesterday, the day to meet Swami, the whole day he had slept. That's an exception. Or maybe just a, strange coincidence. But different people have different body mechanisms. One has to see, one has to be honest to oneself. Do I overwork? You are the best judge. Do I ignore an inner voice which says, time to rest, dear, and I ignore it? Maybe out of my extra attachment to work, maybe out of my attachment to some results of the work. I don't want to let go of some profit, some name, some fame. I don't want to let go of a chance to teach somebody a lesson. Therefore, I extend myself. That's not healthy. Whereas if you stretch yourself for a certain reason with which you so fully identify this as it's a noble reason for a good cause. If it is just money or fame or the worst of it is to teach somebody a lesson. I want him to lose his feet, break his bones. Therefore, it's already 1:30 a.m. I'll work half an hour more and write this email and he will be in trouble or she will be in trouble. That kind of some evil intentions. That will tell on our own health. So you and I have to examine our choices. So this abhavayataha na shanti, if you change that sentence, bhavayataha shanti. Dhyanam kurvataha shanti bhavati. Those who do dhyana, those who meditate. Therefore, friends, no matter whether we are in 60s or 70s, 40s or 50s, it's never too late. Earlier the better. We must spend some time, maybe a little time in the morning, a little time in the evening, very regularly in putting our tools down and meditate. Choose the way of meditation as you like, but do meditate. Everyone has to meditate so that their emotional health, their physical health, their behavior with friends, family members, etc. will be better. Long back when I lived in California, as Mohan Sharma said, a certain book had come to me, to my hands. In that there was a short chapter on garage meditation. Garage or garage, whatever. Garage meditation. And I just read it, and it was interesting. There was a husband and father of 2 children. Whenever he came home, you know how in the US typically you drive into the garage and then the shutter comes down, you go in from the door. The main door doesn't get opened in US homes. Regularly, once in a blue moon, everybody enters through together. So what was the problem with this man, father of two children and husband of his wife? Almost every evening when he came home, within 5 minutes there used to be some fight. Either the son, or the daughter, or the wife would raise some topic and then they will accuse each other. I did not do it, you did it. I told you, you told me. He would wonder, why is this happening? Then somebody advised me, there is a garage meditation you must do. So it's nothing special. He began to do garage meditation one fine evening. Let's say he came home from his office at 7:30. He goes into the garage. There are these remote controls. So before doing all that, he stays in the garage for 5 minutes and very gently and very lovingly says to himself, well, I go in now. My dear wife may ask me something which may agitate me. And out of agitation, I may say something that should not have been said. Tonight, no matter what my wife says, what my son or daughter says or does, I'm going to respond to it for that lovingly. I will respond to come what may lovingly. I will respond to come what may lovingly. Something like that. Or another day, what? 10 minutes of Dharma meditation. And the book claims, the books claim a lot of things, not really easy in real life. You know. But the book claims that his life thereafter was transformed. That house was a house of peace and so on. So we need. So, nacha abhavayatah shanti. This is the third one. And before concluding, I will share two more points with you, as I promised five. The fourth one is no other than what Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda Guru, in his own way called the golden advice. Sri Ramakrishna's golden advice to householders, all of us, was when your one hand is at work, hold God with the second. As soon as work is over, hold God with both the hands. That means don't leave God at all. This, I presume, is an echo of Geeta Vakya in the 8th chapter, 7th shloka. Sri Krishna, having said a lot of things, gives a summary advice to Arjuna. Tasma, the shloka begins with Tasma. Like in mathematical derivations, you have those three dots, one dot above and two dots below. Therefore, in the light of the lines above, final conclusion. Like that, in the Gita, there are some shlokas which begin with Tasma. Therefore, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanusmara Yudhyacha. This Mamanusmara Yudhyacha, I too call it golden advice. If you and I go by it, the amount of self-energization as sky as the limit. In today's times, in modern times, in the name of we are smart, I got a PhD, I got an MA, I got an MD, I got an MTech, I got this, I got that. All of us have certain ego. We know it all. We make a big mistake. We do not have truly someone to hold on to. And there is no one who is a better companion than God. our husband or wife, our son or daughter, our best friend, colleague, all of them, yes, they have done a lot for us. We love them, but we don't know who goes, when does one go? Who knows? God is the eternal companion. But the question is, these Hinduism, who mainly follow Sanatana, they mainly follow Geeta, they say we respect all forms of God. But I ask this audience today, I ask myself also, you respect Rama and Krishna, you respect Shiva and Hanuman, you respect Dattatreya and Devi, you respect all, you go to all temples. But personally, in your private life, have you built a bridge? Have you developed a strong bond with an Ishta Devata? Sanatana Dharma gives you so much choice. But has that choice led to you are not being decisive? Other day I met somebody who was 74-year-old. And with a loving childlike voice, he said to me, sorry, my hair is 74, but not yet decided who my Ishta Devata is. Pros and cons. Pros. When we decide Ishta Devata, we will consider whether we have God is decided. God knows whether he decided. Why are we Hindus so chanchal? We are so disunited. We are so, in the name of the freedom and broad-mindedness and this or that. This is modern times are such. Hindus all over the world will have to do not violent or aggressive or some kind of, we are always right, not that way. But Hindus have to do some soul searching at this time more than any other time. There is a tremendous need for Sanatana Dharmis to ask themselves, we have a great heritage, but what have we done with this heritage? We have a wonderful house with 7 bedrooms. In the last couple of years, I haven't even visited those rooms. I've been only between kitchen and my bedroom, bedroom and kitchen. An analogy. Living in that one room and the kitchen may not be such a big problem. But to have such a glorious heritage of Sanatana Dharma and not building a bond with one Ishtadeva. Respect all devatas, that's fine. But one of you takes Rama. Fight with Rama if not love him daily. Think about Rama. Have a dialogue with Rama. And if you go to some place, Delhi, you went to Delhi for 3 days. Visit 2 or 3 temples of Rama. Make time for it. You went abroad. I have one elderly friend in Bangalore. He's a Shiva Bhakta. He's a Lingayat also. He has a rule. Every Monday he has to go to a Shiva. And once he went to some Gulf country. He's a rich businessman. And long back he said to me, he and his wife in the hotel room were worried. Tomorrow is Monday. And this, I think Kuwait or some country. Oh, Shiva Shiva. Is there a Shiva temple at all in this Muslim country? And then same night or early morning, they checked with the reception, they called somebody, they called ex-wife. And to their delight, in that Arab country, there was one Shiva temple. And he went, you know, he went and amidst all his business, all his various things he does, he has been a very devoted Shiva Bhakta. And I need not say more about him, but he has been, into giving discourses also of late. So he has that Shiva Bhakti. But hold Rama or hold Hanuman. And that He is one practical extension of Mahamanusmara Yudhyachana. Do not just appreciate it intellectually. I like this. Hold God always. When one hand is at work, hold him with the other. When work is over, hold. Don't just translate it from English to Kannada, Sanskrit to Telugu, and then write a poem, sing, and make others sing, and just I'm done with it. Better than writing poetry or singing or doing this or that, quietly hold God. Hold God morning and night. Take an Ishtadevata. It's never too late. Morning when you get up, in the very first half an hour, do one mala of that mantra. Night before sleeping, one mala of that mantra. It could be Guru also. You want to hold Ramakrishna, you want to hold Ramana, you want to hold Chinmaya, you want to hold Chandrasekhara Bharati, we are not short of great saints. We know their lives. Exemplary, extraordinary Mahatmas have been even at this time. They are walking on this earth, in this land. So take one of them and say, I'm going to have an intimate bond with this divine personality of yesteryears or present times. Doesn't matter because spiritual truths defy time. Yesterday or today, in body or dead and gone, do not mean much, you know. So some saint whom you adore might have lived on this earth maybe 200 years ago. Doesn't matter. Even if you were alive in a nearby house, what would you have? You would have just hung around him. No, you would meet him once in a while, only anyway. So, Mahamanusmara Yudhyachara. By the way, Yudhyachara here doesn't mean Yuddham Guru. That was the expression used for Arjuna. For Arjuna, that was his work. You know. Whereas for you and me, suppose one of you is a teacher, Sri Krishna would say, always remember me and teach classes. One of you is a lawyer. Remember me always, Sri Krishna would say, but do your legal practice, right? So remember God and do your work in the best possible way. Golden advice. This is for individual enrichment. Last but not the least, and I now come to a punti, a line, a half shloka, not even half. The part that is much emphasized is quarter, karmanye varika. Sometimes when a line from our scriptures becomes too well known, we tend to undervalue it. Pittala gida mandala. Gar ki murgi dal barabar. This is familiarity. You're so familiar with the Karmanye Varika. You tend that I know. Anything else you have? We appreciate your curiosity for something new always. God bless you. But don't underestimate karma. Don't estimate. Oh yeah, it is karma yoga, but this particular way of putting it, in my view, a whole lot of our relationships at home with our spouse or children, at office with our colleagues or people above us, people below us, in the neighborhood, in the society, no matter where, a lot of our relationships and relationships are the breeding ground for agitation. The moment you and I remember some strained relations, how nice our friendship was, and now we are not in talking terms. And I heard he talked ill of me other day, people reported. But I also talked ill of him. You and I get agitated. You and I feel, why did my life go this way? Wonderful. Sometimes one person, sometimes with a whole group of people. Sometimes a whole town where we used to repeatedly go. There were people who would, relatives, friends call me. Now I don't feel like putting my foot there in that town. Such things are in our minds. Relationships are like that, they change. But Karmanyavadikaraste has wonderful light to throw on how we may deal with these strained relationships. And Karmanyavadikaraste, what does it literally mean? Your right is to your duty, your work, your part. And what will come to you should not bother you much. You do your best. In no way Sri Krishna is saying to somebody working in a company, you work for 30 days, whether they give salary or not. No. That is never said. On the contrary, suppose somebody works in a company and he is underpaid. Sri Krishna's wisdom, Geeta's wisdom fully endorses, fully approves, fully supports that person to complain in a nice politically correct way. So his boss is like a lady, let us say, Madam, I have been working sincerely and this company is not paying me well. I want to let you know, madam. And next day, go in time and work again. Don't play games with your work. Express your discontent, your dissatisfaction, your protest. And if you are not heard, Sri Krishna would certainly give you the green signal even to write a resignation. Even after several complaints, that is not, nobody paid heed to that. I'm going to try another company. So, Mahapaleshu does not mean to shut your eyes to what you get from relationships from the world. But what it says is little bit of change of emphasis. Emphasize more on what good you can do. Even mentally, it begins with mind. In our mind, about some relationship which went sour, we may have agitations. And in our spiritual immaturity, even the best of us may sometimes harbor some negative thoughts. I don't want to say any bad word, but I will be happy to hear if somebody says a bad word to me. That kind of thought comes to us. We must try not to have that thought. We must say, I don't want to hurt him, nor am I praying God that somebody should go and hurt him. May he get better. May she have better thoughts about me. May I also have noble thoughts. Whatever happened is unfortunate. You see, in relationships, this karmanyavadikaraste has a great relevance. Be good, be dynamically good. I think Swami Chidanandaji used to use such words, dynamic goodness. For your Kendra, what was that expression? Is a dynamic spirituality, right? He had a slogan, your Kendra, the youth wing. Youth wing is for dynamic spirituality. What is meant is your goodness should not be very passive, should express yourself, but in a measured way. In this world, you just cannot afford to be excessively good everywhere. About balance will be lost. So therefore, you must think, what is it I can do? Yatha. And sometimes the good that you and I can do is not to do harm, either in action or in words or even in thoughts. Take the greatest care. Moment some negative energy rises, this doesn't do good to me. I will have a heart problem if I entertain more such negative thoughts. If I wish ill to somebody who might have done some very unfair thing to me, but these wicked thoughts, evil thoughts, negative energy will cause health problems to me, emotionally and then spiritually. I will lag behind. Therefore, not that I really shut my eyes to injustice. I do understand that what he did was wrong. But is there a way to deal with it without allowing some what you call wild growth in my mind? I don't want weeds to grow in my garden. My garden should be clean and neat. My antakarana should be pure. Not easy to implement because mind reacts. So Karmanyavadikams, they have a lot of applications. And of course, the most popular interpretation is do your duty and do not make a big issue of rewards. But corollaries, what I have explained is actually a corollary or what follows from that. To do your best and not to make an issue of results applies to relationships in an immense way. And one more time, I would say, it doesn't mean that you shut your eyes to injustice. Somebody was very unfair to you, and you come to another tomorrow again, he's going to do something. There is all your strength, knowledge. Be assertive. I think many times students of spirituality make a mistake of letting go of their assertiveness. Assertiveness means you actually had a chance to say no. You actually had a chance to say don't do it. But because you heard a Gita discourse and misunderstood it, you said, I want to tell him, don't say that. But Swamiji said, be good to me. No, 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 it didn't mean you should not protest. If you are unthankfully, somebody next time somewhere talks ill of you, you can even send a message to him or her. I came to know you talk like this. Sad that you said this. May I request you not to speak like that? This is nothing. And I don't want to give only one way. There are many ways. That's where you need to do homework. Spirituality is successful when you and I do certain chintana, certain homework in our own life, in our own settings, in our own given situation. What could have been a better way of responding? What can be a better way of responding tomorrow when a similar situation is again all likely to arise? We must do some homework. We do so much homework for everything. For putting together this event, Vishwanath, Girjama, and their team. From morning they have been removing this and putting that, and they made me also do a rehearsal. Rehearsal meaning where to place this this height of the laptop and so on. I'm happy, not complaining. I'm happy you involved me. So we do homework on for various things, right? Some kind of we must do so in matters of how we respond to people with especially strained relationships. Then the quality of our interactions gets better. To that extent, we will have certain peace. We will have occasions to pat ourselves on the back. My God, that party again when that man came with the soft drink in hand, my heart was leaping. Again, he will say something nasty, you know. And last time I had reacted in an immature way. And this time he came and but I handled it better. I greeted him. Good evening, how are you? Me too. Remember when you go home to the party, you say, thanks to the little bit of homework and little bit of dhyana, little bit of shastra chintana, little bit of examining myself, I handled the situation in a better way and I have certain peace of mind here. So, Gita, by memorizing slokas, we don't go far, but we need to do certain follow-up work. In this way, to summarize, we talked about how swakarmana tamabhyarcha. May we look at work as worship in our respective deeds. It can make a big difference to us, even in these modern times, where outwardly a lot of things have changed. Then we talked about the collective responsibility of all of us to improve the order nature has set in place, certain order. God has created this. That's like the Yajna Chakra. So especially in the context of environment, we need to do our bit. We must not just be bookish people. What we can do in environment protection, in preventing climate going from bad to worse and so on. Then we talked about the beautiful teaching of need for meditation, need for taking a short break, calming the mind, so that we perceive situations in a more balanced way. Calmer the mind, you perceive better. When you perceive better, you then take good decisions. Fourthly, we took up Mamanusmara Yudhyachal, remembering God. Especially, I highlighted the need for an Ishta Devata, and with due respect to 100 gods, fine, but have one God form as your constant companion, day and night, everywhere, wherever you go. And that can make a big difference to you. Last but not the least, the well-known line, Karmanyevadikaraste, we interpreted in the light of relationships. If we improve our sattvic quality, then we can mend fences, strained relationships can be restored to an extent possible, and we can prevent more relationships from getting disturbed. And harmony with others in life is a great source of happiness. When we are in harmony mentally, I don't dislike anybody, and nor do I encroach upon anybody's space. I don't pounce upon them because that's another problem with relationships. We go too close and take the space away in the name of love. I love you so much and you are not caring for me and that type of thing. You know, the true meaning of love doesn't provide or doesn't make room for robbing the space. So if you love somebody truly, then you must understand and where you feel that she needs her space, he needs little freedom here. You should be able to keep a distance. That's also an art. So in relationships, giving our best in word, deed, and thought was the last point. So these are some of the things which have tremendous relevance even in modern times. May Bhagavan Vasudeva bless all of you with more and more sattva, more and more dana, more and more of happiness in your lives. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.